And big dicks.
So true.
Okay, yeah. So we have to start. Grab your cocktail, girl.
Oh.
Welcome to Love Fevers TV, honey. I am your hostess with the mostest, Marina LaFevers, and this is
Panda.
Today we are here to unpack and unload the entire movie that is known to Netflix as Old Guard. Come through, Charlize Theron. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh. I may be incorrect in saying this, but I've done just a fair amount of research before we got this. And I do have to say this was a request, because generally here we've been trying to do series. But we decided to fit this in because it started off as like a graphic novel comic series, I believe.
I was unaware of that, but
Me too.
she
Me
gave me a little
too.
tidbit.
Well, we had a viewer, ask us to cover this, so we are covering this today, honey. That is why our looks today are Last World Fuck You Up realness.
Last World. Woo.
Yes.
Mad Max and Thunderdome.
Okay, beyond Thunderdome, honey.
Oh, and
Yes, girl. Okay, so the movie opens up and it's already like kick-ass action. Just off gate. You don't know what the hell's going on. My first notes upon opening opens with Charlize Theron dead and all her friends dead. And then you hear kind of like a monologue in the background like, this bitch has died before. Like, this is not the first time this has happened. It was literally very much like, oh, they got my order wrong. Because this happens all the time. It was very that kind of vibe. What did you think about that? When the scene opened, like everybody's dead, and then you hear Charlize Theron just kind of casually being like, yeah, well, you know, I'm dead, but...
watching many films, I felt as though that I appreciated that it opened with a bang. It made you think, like, all right, you got my attention. What's the backstory? So that's pretty much it. And they succeeded.
Definitely. Did you have any thoughts on kind of like the foreshadowing or kind of like the insinuations? Because baby, let me just tell you, this movie doesn't tell you everything up front. Like, it holds you on, but it keeps your attention. Like, there's a lot of movies that try to do that, I feel like, gradually feed you the storyline and reveal pieces to you, but not always are done so effectively because you have to keep the audience in suspense.
Correct.
I feel like up until the big reveal. And this movie, in my opinion, did amazing at that.
I concur. I was at liberty to watch the preview/trailer before she did.
It's funny, yeah, because I didn't watch the preview, but I did watch the YouTube videos about the graphic novels and the series and all that.
So she had more actual background story about the story behind why they decided to make this movie.
The movie is way different than any storylines you see online.
Correct, but I at least got to see the trailer. She did more background story. So I tried to divulge a little bit of information to kind of like clue her in, and
I was kind of tough on you. Yeah, and I'm glad that I like pumped the brakes on that because I was pleasantly surprised. Even with the little bit of research I had done, and just so you guys know, if we're not familiar with the series, yes, we are drag and queer lifestyle aficionados, darling. But if there's a subject you asked us to cover, we are fair and impartial as the day is long, and we will do our motherfucking research, honey. We're not about to go into it half-baked. Well, we might. But just not in the way you thought, honey. So, next up, moving right along, then it moves to another country. I'm not exactly sure what country. I think it told us.
At the beginning, it was Morocco.
It was
Morocco because they had to
congregate
back together.
So it was Morocco, and then you see a friend of hers reunite with her and start taking her somewhere else, and then quickly you notice that somebody tries to take a selfie with her, or no, somebody doesn't take a selfie with her, somebody takes a selfie and she just happens to be in the background and her picture gets captured.
Yep. Correct.
Baby, she immediately walks over to that girl and erases her picture. So that's the second clue.
She made the suggestion to take the picture, and in conjunction,
She
deleted the picture and took the selfie. Well, took
So
the
it was
picture
slick. It was slick. She's definitely done this before.
because she wasn't around the block. She had been around the block.
Right.
More than once.
She's done this before. This is not her first time with the rodeo. But at this point, what we're saying is like we still had no idea what the hell was going on. And so from a viewer perspective, it's still like baby feeding you, but still doing it so well. There's a quick fight scene in Morocco on the way to her friends.
Correct.
And I made a quick note here that like the fighting choreography was amazing. I'm an old school dancing queen, and choreography is like one of my favorite things in the world. Even like Jet Li's work, Jackie Chan's work, like in terms of martial artist choreography. And I think they're one and the same, even though different genres. And anytime I see like amazing choreography work, no matter the genre, I'm here for it and I applaud it. So I had to make a quick note of that, but quickly we see them reconvening at a hideout spot in Morocco, and she's meeting these friends and they decide to take a job. Well, they hear about a job and then they meet a former CIA agent.
Correct.
And discuss this job where apparently several children have been kidnapped, and you discover pretty quickly that Charlize Theron and a lot of her friends, Charlize in particular, has taken a major hiatus from what seems to be their regular work now of taking mercenary kind of assignments. Which, by the way, I might add, all of their mercenary assignments seem to be heroic and in the place of like common good. You know, they're not assholes.
Very Robin Hood-esque as far as helping the little person and protecting people at the cost of not necessarily being legal about it.
Right. And I like that you mentioned the Robin Hood theory. Cheers to Robin Hood, Hannah!
Cheers to Robin Hood and Disney's with the Fox.
Okay.
Robin Hood.
So
they reconvene at the hotel. It's been 1 year since she had her since she had her hiatus. They always call her boss. Because apparently she's not the new kid on the block. That's like Teen Andy.
And what's cool is I still to this day cannot pronounce her name, like her actual name from like her origin story. So I'll put that up here somewhere. Like what her name was in the film, but even she couldn't remember it because she was so old. But what was interesting is her cast of characters, her friends. You had one gentleman who had known her from 1812. He was like a French revolutionary kind of, he was during that era. Then there were two gentlemen who were also a part of the original Crusades. And so you quickly gather, watching this group of friends interact, that they've all been alive for like a really long time, all different ages and sectors and things like that. So how that plays into them taking the CIA agent's offer is they attempt to go and save these kidnapped children, and it's basically an ambush.
Yes. And here's where the juicy part comes in. As far as that 10 minutes into the movie with action, yes, it was very delightful.
So basically what happens is all of the soldiers get to the location. All of the immortal soldiers get to the location where the children are supposedly being held. And it's very much an ambush, and they get shot down like execution style, like by a group of like gunmen. And you watch them all just get shot to death. And then slowly, and then it picks up to where the movie started at. Everybody is in the same position on the floor dead as when the movie first opened. And so you're like, oh, okay, so what's about to happen? Well, they all gradually start to get up and commence to fucking shit up. They just wear every soldier in there out. You go ahead with that fight scene.
Yeah. They proceed to go ham, and each and every individual in the party, and it is a party of 4, they exact punishment for what
Brutal punishment.
It was brutal, and it did cost everyone their life in that little tiny room.
Well, once they escape that situation, they quickly realize that they have been set up. Like that Mr. CIA man is not what he seems to be.
Because there were no children when they proceeded to enter the compound.
Baby, there wasn't a piece of dust or a dust bunny in that compound.
Only shoes, a pile of shoes to get them on the wrong track. And then they got shot up.
Brutally.
Yeah.
So they escape to a train. And while they're stowing away on said train, we cut to another scene of this really beautiful woman who's in the army in Afghanistan.
Actually, she was not in the army. She was actually in the Marine Corps.
So she was in the Marine Corps, and she was stationed where? That's Afghanistan, right?
Correct. It cut to Afghanistan.
And she is trying to defuse this crazy situation with this group of women who are clearly being held hostage by this man, and they're trying to not give it away, but one of the women is able to kind of like gesture with her eyes to where this man is hiding.
Body language.
Body language.
But not as that overtly.
Yeah.
But yes, body.
Oh, baby, she did a Mayhem Miller honey with the eyes.
And it worked. So she went to investigate, and
She goes to investigate. This motherfucker isn't here fucking shit up. And then she basically gives him 2 to the chest and then jumps to try to save him. And then while she's trying to save him, he stabs her in the neck.
he didn't stab her. He sliced her throat.
He fucked her up.
That was
Hey, he fucked her up. Cocktail time.
We're chasing to cocktail time, not because what transpired.
We don't care. We just wanted to sip a drink. We had to wet our whistles, Tanner.
Correct. So as far as her teammate, fellow Marine, she was there doing backup and covering her back.
Yeah.
So she made sure to try to staunch the blood flow, and then you cut to the other scene where she's actually in the medic's care. But now her coworker's delirious because this particular coworker slash military member has seen her friend slash ally slash, we in it together because, we're part of the military.
Maybe probably even did like basic training together and all that. So basically, they basically took her dog tags from her, everything, like treated her like she was dead. And then this bitch comes to in the care of the Army hospital. Now what's important...
The
Marine hospital, sorry. Now what's important to mention about this is while all of this is happening, when she dies and comes back to life, it cuts back to all of the immortals that are riding in the train, and they all dream about her. And when they all come to, they all start talking about the dream they just had. Who is it? You can tell that this has clearly happened before, and that they're trying to locate this person that they have some sort of
connection. A new connection to that never existed.
Never existed before.
Correct.
So they're trying to connect all the dots to figure out where this girl is, pointing out landmarks, everything based upon their dreams. And you quickly surmise, like, something pretty serious is going on here. I do have to state, for the purposes of this video, that generally speaking, I am like the predictor, like I am Psychic Friends Network all the way on this, and I was skeptical of it. I was like, no, she's not a major player. Like, it's probably coincidental, or they're supposed to help her in some way. Like, I was literally not buying the Kool-Aid, but this one off gate was like, no.
The only reason why is because I actually saw the trailer. I tried to tell you, you should watch it. She respectfully declined, and I said, okay, we're gonna work.
I wanted you guys to have the most authentic review possible. Like,
ladies, gentlemen, non-binary individuals, I'm going to panda shall state that this is not filtered.
Oh, yeah.
She will be filtered to spare people's feelings points in time, but please come correct. As far as genuine, like, I don't know, can I ask you a personal question? We both are on that level.
Yeah.
If you don't know and you don't want to cause offense, we understand that. Shit. Excuse the language.
Fuck the language, we can bleep it out.
We're not sailors like that. Like, not unless you were part of the Navy at one point in your life.
Girl, I'm
Or
getting...
in your past life. Were you a pirate?
Ass pirate.
Let me hold up that boot here.
Ah, girl.
So,
Polly water cracker.
I like the state of those saltines, gourmet saltines, with your soup or salad.
Not a gourmet saltine.
It is gourmet, especially Captain's wafers. Those buttery deliciousness, just like Ritz.
Buttery deliciousness.
Yeah. I know I digress.
Yeah.
But yeah, that buttery deliciousness is quite tasty. But no, shoot. They're all connected now.
Yeah, and then what I thought was kind of crazy is it's like, Charlize Theron's character is like, okay, you guys go take care of this. I'm gonna go find her. Like,
the reason why she said that is because they had to get the heck out of Dodge, and then boop. Guess what, universe? Well, there's a new addition, the new kid on the block. So,
did you find it weird though that she found her so fast? That literally we got maybe 2 minutes of Charlize Theron's character leaving the train, and then all of a sudden we're back with old girl, and then her friends start switching up on her and start acting shady to her. And then all of a sudden you can clearly tell, like, they're saying, like, girl, we watched you die, like, we don't know how you're here. And then they see that the scar on her neck is completely healed. Then you see one of her sergeants approach her with her dog tags. It's like, we took these off of you. We didn't think that you'd be needing them because you were dead on the scene. Oh, and by the way...
But he still was grateful that she did make it through. So
baby, that was him saving face. Because right after that, he said, oh, and by the way, you're being relocated. And he would not tell her where. So then, as him and the other sergeant are trying to take her to wherever the fuck she's supposed to be relocated to, Charlie, who comes the hell out of nowhere?
Charlize Theron, also known as Andy.
Andy had it. Also known as wherever we put it up. Wherever we put it up here,
right.
Because we can't remember what her name. How
Andy.
to pronounce. No, baby, her real, that Andromache, something Deridian.
The authentic.
Yes, girl, all of that. So, she mollywops the two dudes, has to snatch Miss Thing up.
True.
And then she's basically like, you couldn't trust them anyways. They were about to do experiments on you, all kind of fucked up shit. So she's taking this girl is tripping on Charlize Theron. She leaves out of the car. She gets away out of the damn car somehow. Charlize Theron stops, waits for this bitch.
She rolled out of the car like down a hill.
Charlize Theron waits for this bitch to get maybe a couple of feet outside of the car and just really nonchalantly is just like,
are you done?
BAM!
Nope. She was like, are you done? Type, like, okay. So, Miss, what was that? Naya Freeman.
Naya.
No, it was like N-I-L-E.
Oh, like the river Naya?
Yeah, like
I thought the whole time it was Naya.
As far as on her, her uniform.
No, it's Naya.
It was Freeman. It was Freeman. So, she gets up and she's like, oh, gotta go. Andy, Charlize Theron was like, okay. Damn. Bam.
Shoots her clean in the damn back. No, in the head.
In the head.
Shot her in the damn back of the head. It went through the other side. And then she just...
She dropped like a sack of potatoes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Then Charlize just casually walks up to that bitch and she waits.
She waited. Yep, just waited. And 3, 2, 1. Yep, I'm back.
Girl, just awake now, girl. It was just too much.
It was, but at the same time, there was no other option because you're not gonna believe what someone's gonna say until you actually. Unfortunately, a lot of people experience that. You actually have to learn it for yourself.
I have to note one of my favorite things or whatever is like when they're on their way to the drug running plane. Charlize Theron takes just a quick second to tell Naya, "Hey, sweetie, you got blood in your hair. Like you might wanna." And
that bagged her. She was like, kind of like, "Duh, I know that."
It's just like, how did it get there, bitch? I wonder how that happened. Right. So I thought that's one of my notes. I saw that and I was just like, okay, comic relief amidst the action.
And it perpetuated because those two from the Renaissance.
Oh, yes. Oh, baby, don't get ahead of yourself because that's like one of my favorite. Oh, you split.
I know.
Drug runner plane. Don't get there. No, because we got save it. Save
that
it.
Was it. I just want to slip a little.
Nope. No, because we're about to go in on that.
I know you.
We're about to go in on that because I didn't clock it like you did. Well, on the way, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Drug runner plane. So they get to this drug running plane to get the hell out of Dodge and go wherever the hell they're going. And Miss Naya is like not having it. It's clearly not having it. So she figures out a way to break free. And then while Charlize Theron's character takes a little disco nap, she comes to, and old Naya has damn tied her ass up.
She handcuffed her.
No, she didn't handcuff her. She took one of them belts that had the buckle thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So she ties her up, just one wrist or whatever. What I thought was hilarious about this scene was, yes, play dead. So basically what happens is the guy who's flying the plane, you see Charlize Theron being held captive, and this girl is just literally like, oh, I've got the upper hand now. Then all of a sudden you see Charlize Theron asks, she goes, can you fly a plane? The girl's like, no, why? Charlize Theron says something quick in Russian, pulls her gun out, and then shoots the pilot. Pops one off in the pilot's head, and then he like lays out, honey, and then the plane. So Miss Thing freaks out, has to let Charlize Theron free, and then out of nowhere, you see the pilot wake right back up, and she's like, you clearly don't speak Russian, do you? She said, I told him to play dead. Gag! That was so fierce. There was something mentioned during the plane flight too, where Charlize Theron was like, my God doesn't exist. And I thought that was important to mention because it's like another clue on
that is very important to mention due to, I mean, that's been a constant thing since the beginning of time. Well, not beginning of time.
I thought it was kind of like a double entendre because it was literally like, okay, I can't die, so I don't know God.
It was a double entendre.
And then the other one too is just like, I'm so old that I've seen many gods.
But then in conjunction with that, she flat out, Charlize Theron's character, Andy, flat out stated that there is no God. Because for someone who's actually existed for so many years, and you really don't know her age because she never pinpointed.
She forgot. She had forgotten herself.
And deep down inside, that's what you felt.
No. She literally says it.
Yeah.
She literally says it in the.
She could have been coy with it.
No, when you watch like the background stuff, she's literally so old that she forgot. I also have to say that the battle during the plane dive between Naya and Charlize Theron, baby.
Officer Freeman and Andy, they were going at it.
Yes.
Blow for blow.
Baby, going to town. Baby, I'm going to tell you something. Now, Charlize Theron was playing with the girl and ready to pack that ass up at a moment's notice. But let me tell you, hold on now, baby. Naya, and she was playing with her. But Naya Naya let her know that she was there.
Correct. At the
Oh,
same
Naya
time,
let
at
her
the
know
same
she was
time,
there.
At the same time. From my perspective, what I got with it was Andy, since she's the #1 person that's been around for the longest duration, she got the short end of the straw and had to go retrieve this one. So, yes, out of everyone, I would expect her to be the most patient, even though she knew that she flat out was like, oh, why me?
Yes,
But she still did it anyway.
She is very matronly. I really have to say.
And is. And she took every single blow and she dished out every blow.
So basically, even after Naya getting shot in the head, she doesn't believe. During this fight sequence, she gets all her fucking bones broken by Charlize Theron. And then she sits there with Charlize and watches her own bones heal. And for some reason,
It finally clicks.
that is the moment that she's like, oh damn, I'm immortal.
And what more should you request to make sure that I'm immortal? So then from there, it's time to go. And Miss Freeman got back into the vehicle. And then they continue on.
So basically, we find out on the drug running ship that they're heading to how does it pronounce? Goussainville, France? Goussainville, France. Goussainville? Give us the correct phonetic spelling of Goussainville.
It was like Gouss. I saw that and I was like, nope.
Give us the correct phonetic spelling. Pronunciation.
So they are a region.
In the continent.
A region in France.
Right. Cocktail time.
I just already had a sip.
Yeah, but it's time for another.
Are you gonna cheers me like that?
Whore!
Oh. Lies. I don't charge for my services.
Oh, they're free.
Micah hit me. Cause if I can turn back. Yeah.
Girl.
Thank you, shit.
Okay, so they basically go to this house in France on a farm that apparently has been abandoned for 50 years. And here is where you really start to hear the other member of the party's stories and how they're unique to them. This is who I call the Crusaders, which are two men who were both on opposing forces during the Crusades, like the Great Crusades of the, what years were it? We'll pop the years up, like the history. Yeah, we'll pop that up here somewhere. But the Great Crusades, two men of opposing sides became lovers. Now, when we first met the two Crusaders, we heard like insinuation about this, but we didn't get full-on confirmation of their relationship until this scene. Then we also hear about the gentleman who was born during 1812, who was basically like, I think he had left the French army, like was a runaway from the French army. And you just really start to hear more about these characters and their lives and who they were before they became immortal. But the one thing that is constant and the same between all of them is that they all come from a family or a lineage of warriors.
Correct.
Yeah.
Bam! Baked potato.
Yeah, pop it! Put some sour cream on it!
Well, she's keeping with the baked potato. I was going for French fries.
Yeah, you slept. Then we find out. Also, too, we find out during this moment that one of their party did end up dying. Like, eventually, some of these characters, their immortality just stops. And you hear about this when Charlize Theron is talking about one of their party who got wounded and then his wounds just did not heal and then he passed away. And that's kind of like the first time that's ever happened to somebody in their group like that. And so it's the first insight you get that maybe they're not 100% immortal, that maybe there's like a slight catch to all of this.
Andy's character has to go rescue her, and like
We-
time has elapsed.
We
so
are forgetting
great.
about, I just read this too. So the last and final thing that we learn at the table about the history of the group was that there was one member of the group before all of them that was with Charlize. So apparently we discover Charlize is way older than everybody else, and that there was a time period of like hundreds of years that she was immortal all by herself until she finds this woman from China, from Great China. And that woman becomes her closest confidant and her best friend, and
someone who is going through the same rigmarole since we here in the South, same life journey
as her. Found her in a desert, dehydrated and dying over and over again in the desert. And you see just a quick snippet in this scene of their relationship together, but you see that it ended by them both being tried as witches. And then you also discover that when they were hung by the witch trial people, that they quickly come back to life after being hung. Which
I would have to interject. Witch hunter, it wasn't that time frame.
The witch trials.
It wasn't the witch trials. It was like they got tried in as far as the implementation of their death, and so happened to be they got hung. But of course they were resurrected by supernatural means, and then from there it escalated.
Now what I don't realize,
it escalated because the Asian lady.
Oh, they tried to put them on fire too.
Oh no, they already burned them.
Oh, so they put them on fire first. Fire didn't work.
I'm not sure exactly if they got hung first or they were on fire, but
I think they were hung first. Then they tried to burn them. And then what they did after that, and I don't know why they chose Charlize's
friend,
partner. The point that's really fucked up about it is that this immortal gets locked in an Iron Maiden and is dropped to the bottom of the sea to drown and wake up
perpetually
and drown all over again for the rest of eternity, and that is fucked up.
Rest of eternity, or until the immortality wore off, which was stated like with her visions, which she actually also said. It was sad.
Then what happens is the current time that we're at now, and Charlize Theron and her new protege are outside of the house having a conversation. Well, while this is happening, the CIA agents who have filmed their last interaction together, them coming to life, they have now gotten a ton of resources and help to find where the immortals are and ambush them. And they get ambushed while Charlize Theron and her new protege are talking, and the two crusaders get kidnapped, and the two girls come in on Booker, who had been almost completely dismembered but who's not dead yet. And Charlize Theron explains that larger wounds take longer to heal.
He wasn't dismembered. He was just like...
No, his whole stomach, his midsection.
That's not dismemberment.
What I lived for is after old boy starts to heal from the major wound, is then it cuts to the ambulance ride, or the soldiers ride where they have kidnapped the two crusaders. Ooh. Baby! I have to make another cocktail for this. So, basically, where we just picked off at is now we are in some type of truck with our two crusaders. And we have very differing opinions on how we thought this scene played out. But the one constant that we both have is that as two LGBTQIA plus individuals, we were here for all of it, baby.
Correct.
So So, if you would oblige me, PJ Panda darling, I would like to tell you what I got from this scene.
Go for it.
Okay, so basically we're here. These two guys are fucking with their captors. Like literally. Totally just fucking with them.
That was not malicious.
No, I'm not saying that it was. But literally I was totally here for it. They're completely unbothered fucking with them. And it's really beautiful. It's literally the definition of shade. It's all these beautiful innuendos going back and forth until finally, honey, these motherfuckers are like, who do you love? Oh, you love him? You love him? Talking about his crusader friend. He said, you don't know anything about love. He was like, if love means like belonging to somebody's soul, like, oh my God, he just goes off on this full dissertation of how love is a concept that they'll never completely understand because they will never live to live long enough to understand the true concept of like soul to soul, like eternal love, and that's what they have. Then to add insult to injury in front of all these homophobic, heteronormative, gun-toting assholes, these bitches make out in front of them, honey. And I am gonna take my hat off to PJ to Miss Panda, so she can tell you what her turn of events was or take was on that scene. Because we both love this scene, but we both saw it in a different way.
Correct. For the most part, what Miss Marina stated, I am on board. Not 100%. There's always going to be things in life that you will agree or disagree with. And what I took away with this is these two individuals, literally, one out of the two, the first one actually expressed their opinion about the other person as far as like a marriage. It was a marriage.
It was more than a marriage. Baby, I've been married before. What he said was more than marriage. He said he was talking about some shit on a conceptual level, like how their souls were meant to be together for eternity. And like love, like literally talking shit, like love ain't even shit. Like that's not even what this is, Hunter!
You say that, but I still disagree because no need for no.
No, because I cut in and it's your turn. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. You know, we need a little commentary here and there to keep the flow. I ain't adult.
What? Rolling with the homies. Clueless reference. Check it out.
Oh, that Clueless was Alicia Silverstone?
Yep.
Oh shit.
Yep. So what did you get from that though?
Just the essence of love.
Yeah.
You know, that genuine, pure, timeless. They met each other on opposite sides, but they still made it work. They weren't at each other's throats. Beautiful, just beautiful. And on top of that, if it's some fucked up bullshit that you know you don't want to happen to you, why should you allow it to happen to someone else?
Amen.
That's fucked up.
Amen.
Regardless of, guess what? I'm a little darker than her. If I was Ruju B, it's like, guess what? I'm gonna use my sunray to give you melanin.
Melanated, bitch, honey, melanated.
From the last video.
Yes, girl. So when we see the Crusaders get dropped off at wherever the hell these scientists are, we quickly discover when they open the doors of the van on the Crusaders that not only did they subject these Crusaders to the reading for filth of a lifetime that they could ever have, as well as a fabulous makeout session, but they broke free of their restraints and killed all of them.
Correct.
Living! So we find out that they end up getting put on a plane and that they're being sent to this scientist, this biochemist scientist who the CIA agent is working with that is trying to create some kind of immortality serum and wants their DNA for it. And so we're really starting to see like why they were set up in the first place. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So So the Crusaders have now been taken to this place where they're kind of being hooked up and started to be experimented on and all kind of nonsense. So these Crusaders end up getting locked up and hoisted up to these machines while this biology scientist is trying to do whatever. All the meanwhile, Andy and Naya and her friend from 1812 are on the way to try to rescue them. Yeah, Booker are on the way to try to rescue them. And along the way, we see Andy get a wound.
Correct.
And we quickly learn, like, Andy's wound is not healing.
But she was badass as hell.
She didn't give a damn. She still didn't give a damn. She killed everybody up in there. And because Naya saw all the death and destruction as a result of every one of those soldiers, and then they're on their way to the plane, and Naya sees all of those bodies that Andy left in the wake of her destruction, it makes Andy second guess being what she is. That's that one moment. Because remember when they're on the way to get the Crusaders, she's talking about, like, why should I do this? Why would I be this?
That's what she already signed up for before she came in Old Guard.
This is just the notes, baby.
Correct.
But yeah, it's one of those points in the plot line where you're literally like, bitch, you're already in it.
You already knew that.
Like, bitch, you're already.
That first question about the universe and, like, spirituality. And,
yeah, girl, you're already here.
And this lady's telling you that she's like as old as particularly the Garden of Eden. You know,
for real, we really don't know how old she is. So they continue to test on these soldiers while Naya, Booker, and Andy are on the way to try to rescue them. Along this journey, you find out while they're sharing stories with each other really quickly before they go into this final crazy battle that Naya's father, who was in the military, that he died as well. And you also discover that that Charlize Theron will always regret the fact that she believes that she gave up looking for
the Asian one.
Yeah,
the Asian immortal.
Her who I believe to have been her lover. I believe that was her lover. Like, they didn't specify that in the movie, but there's a lot of undertones that I felt like it. The way they were with one, I just felt like it was her lover.
Lover doesn't have to be always sexually.
No, it doesn't. I really
not always sexually charged.
Lover can be many things. Lover can be many things.
It's so true. To actually have someone who literally was immortal like you. Yeah.
So now to the most. So the most disappointing part of the movie for me is now we close in on our hero, closing in on the scientist, and we're quickly realizing that she rolls up on our CIA agent and that she was set up. Now, before we see that she's set up, we see that the CIA agent is really not a villain after all. He has collected all of this information on Andy that shows that for every life she has saved, that 3 generations later, that person that family or that lineage that she saved ends up doing something amazing for the world. Do you know what I mean? And we quickly learn that, as well as the fact that Booker wanted to save her from immortality because she was so happy about immortality. And so he
she was not happy.
She was not happy. So it's important to mention the fact that Booker betrayed her. Booker betrayed her. Booker shoots her in the back, literally.
And he snitched, and the other two Renaissance people got carted off and got dissected.
Well, that, as we learned, that wasn't part of the plan for him.
Correct.
He was trying to give up just Andy, so himself and Andy, so he could find a way to end Andy's immortality, because he knew how unhappy Andy was with the immortality. So even though it was very misguided, it's very much an anti-hero situation. Booker did it with love. He still did it with love.
He did.
Even though it was very misguided. So
grind my gears.
Right.
I'm not gonna wear my glasses in this
grinds my gears. So now we get to the big finale, where we know that Charlize Theron's character Andy could die from any wound at this point. Like literally, she could die from any wound at this point.
But we gotta get that big mama jamma. You gotta be dealt with. You fucked us all up.
And so they courageously together, including Booker. True. So long story short, they end up fucking up the scientist and keeping the CIA agent, and now they have formed a group because this CIA agent has figured out his pattern.
He's been stalking Andy.
Well, he's figured out a pattern as to why they're here. And so he's now, what we learned, like just like with Booker, because Booker's character, each one of the characters that came into Andy's life and her immortality ring, each one of them served a purpose in progressing her mission.
Correct.
And I feel like the CIA agent, even though he's not immortal, he's another one of those characters that now knows the why, the when, and the how as to what they are.
Is that why people say look for a silver lining?
So that is the basics of our review and our synopsis of Old Guard, and
it was really good.
We give that 2 thumbs up, which is a total of 4, bitch. But as always, this is Marina Lefevre's with Lefevre's TV, and this is
Panda.
And you have watched Series Synopsis with Marina Lefevre's and Panda. And always remember, bitch, don't hate, percolate. Eat it!